demos, but
So where are we and who are you all?
So this is the Developer Solutions team, and we're at our Sprint retrospective meeting, and we're about to demo the 3 tools we've been developing for the last 5 weeks. And you're going to get those 3 demos, and we essentially are chartered with making developers more successful with the tools we release from the division. So we do Power Toys and some internal applications as well, and you're going to see 3 Power Toy releases that you can go download when you see the video.
Can we quickly get some names?
Yeah.
What's your...
So I'm Josh,
Yeah.
Redguard. I'm a PM.
Yeah?
Hanan, development.
Craig, developer.
Okay.
I'm Joe, PM.
Right.
K7, dev lead.
I'm Sarah, a PM.
Mm-hmm.
John, QA.
Mm-hmm.
Christian, QA.
Srinath, dev.
Cool. So how many demos we're going to say?
We're going to see 3 demos, and Craig's going to start with the demo of the MSBee tool, and he'll explain what it is and go from there.
You're on, Craig.
So the MSBee tool allows MSBuild users to target .NET 1.1 with their projects and applications. And we've released an initial CTP at the end of 2005, and now we've just released the first beta for the MSBee tool, which I'm going to demo here. So, first thing I'm going to do is go to the lovely MSBuild Extras Code Gallery website, and I'm going to scroll down to the downloads and actually download the release. Or maybe I'm going to download
Just
the release.
click on the release.
Ah, okay. So one of the key things we have for this release is this nice little installer. So instead of just dragging and dropping everything into the program files directory, the installer is going to do all the work for us because we're lazy, because we're developers. And we're going to take a moment. We're going to let it install. It's going to tell me that it's done. And one of the things you also get with this release is a README document, which is new to the release, which actually goes over all the install requirements, stuff about MSBuild, using MSBee, how to use it, answers to some frequently asked questions, support links, all kinds of great stuff to help you out if you have any problems. You can even email me, and we'll give you answers to all your questions. So over here I have this little project that we've been using as part of our tests. So this project is a Visual Studio 2003 application in VB that plays Tetris. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open it in Visual Studio 2005. And a moment, yes, the conversion wizard is going to come up, and it's going to ask us to convert this Visual Studio 2003 project to a 2005 project, and we're going to tell it to do it. And it's done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open the project files and make a few changes. Now the reason we had to migrate this is because Visual Studio 2005 VB and C# projects use MSBuild, and the project format of the project files has changed to use the MSBuild XML. Now you'll note it imports the Visual Basic.targets file, which contains XML elements for the Visual Basic compiler. In order to target .NET 1.1, we're going to add our own import, which I've conveniently placed in this notepad file. And what this will do is, after we import the normal MSBuild targets, we will import our targets. And our targets allow the application to be redirected to .NET 1.1. So I have to do that one, and then there's a second one here. So one thing to remember is that when you're opening a solution, you need to manually do each project file, not just the top level one, or this won't work. And then I will open up a Visual Studio command prompt. And then, so one thing also to remember is that right now, if I just build the solution normally, even after I made those changes, it still builds and uses .NET 2.0. In order for me to actually target 1.1, I need to add this target FX1 property on the command line and assign it to true. And now, as you can see, as it quickly scrolls through, we're actually using the .NET 1.1 Visual Basic Compiler, the resource compiler, and we've actually generated a .NET 1.1 app. And if I go back in here and I go to the bin directory, this is... Oh, that's the graphics. Oops. How do I go to the top level? Here we go. So this is the Tetris.NET for 2.0, and then here's the FX11 subdirectory. This is another thing we've added for this release. And now I'll bring it back up. I'll tell it to make a new game. And now I can play Tetris using .NET 1.1 with MSBee. And you can tell it's been a long time since I played Tetris, but nonetheless.
And this is all in the name of debugging, right?
This is all in hours of Tetris, all in the name of debugging. So again, one of the nicest things about this is that you can now have your .NET 2.0 and your .NET 1.1 binary side by side. So if you need to do some 2.0 development and you want to make sure it's still backward compatible, you can do that. And that is our Beta 1 release, and we're looking forward to adding some more functionality for Beta 2, including resolving COM references, which is one of our biggest customer demands or requests. Any questions?
That's good.
No, it's awesome. Good job.
Come on!
All right, who's up next?
Who can top that?
There's no more Tetris playing in the demos as far as I know.
Yeah.
What was your name again?
Kanan.
Okay. What are we going to see?
So today I'm going to demo the Team Foundation admin tool, Team Foundation Server admin tool. As you know, Team Foundation Server is the server component of Visual Studio Team Systems. It's one of the scalable SCM solutions from Microsoft. Even though we are part of the aftermarket solutions, we wanted to be a little more proactive in case of TFS because it's a version 1 solution. And we have looked at what are all the issues which are there with the TFS from existing customers. We have heard a lot of feedback. And one of the issues that has come up is that managing the permission across the subsystems of the TFS has been a key issue for them. So based on those feedback, we have come up with this tool. And let me just bring up the application. And here you can see the help at the bottom left, which is a context-sensitive help. And let me log into the TFS server. It's connecting to the TFS server. And here we have all the list of team projects from this TFS server. So I'm just going to pick one. So as you can see, the context-sensitive help gives you information with respect to this. So let me go ahead and, as you can see, the list of these are all the users who are currently there, and it shows their Team Foundation role, their SharePoint roles, as well as the reporting services roles. So let me go ahead and edit one of the existing users. I'm going to add him to a couple of roles here, and then save my changes to the server. And you can see the log showing all the changes and the status, whether it passed or failed. Let me try adding a new user. I'm going to select the Team Foundation server, and when I tab, it automatically picks up the default role mappings that I have specified in a configuration file, and it automatically brings up the administrator role and the content manager role for SharePoint and reporting services. So now I can go ahead and do the save, and as you can see, it has added the user to all the three roles, three subsystems.
So what would have been involved if you didn't have this tool? How did you go about adding this stuff?
Yeah, without this tool, currently we can only add the user to the Team Foundation server. and we need to manually go to the SharePoint site and the reporting services site and manually manage these things. This tool provides you one place integrated view of the roles across the systems, and it's much easier to manage the roles from here. Let me show you a few other functionalities here. So I'm trying to add another new user, but I later decide that I don't want to add them. I can just escape and it cancels the edit, and as you can see, the save doesn't do anything. A few other things, I can delete an existing user and just save, and it deletes the user from all the tiers, as you can see from the comments here. Some of the other things, if you don't want to see the help, you can hide it. You can switch between team projects, so I can just go here and select another team project, and it shows all the users of the team project and their respective roles. I can go ahead and make changes to a user on this team project, and you can see the status of your action. I can also go back, click on this login, change my TFS server, and select a project on a totally new TFS server. There you go. So that's the functionality we have as of today, and we plan to add more functionality based on user feedback. And thanks for coming for the demo.
So that tool is going to be available on got.net site, the same one that Craig showed for the MSBee tool, and we're planning on going ahead and releasing that. Beta 1 will be going up on the web. It should be up right now. And the second release, the final release of the tool, we're trying to get to go in with the final version of TFS.
Is the source code included?
The source code will eventually be included. All three of these tools are going to be shared source solutions.
Oh, okay.
We're really excited to see what the community does with them.
It's scheduled for our next sprint. It's not for this release, but for the final release.
What's the time frame there, at least idea-wise?
Well, for the TFS tool, we want to release whenever TFS ships the final version of the product. But Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong, but are we looking at a couple months from now being shared
Right.
source?
Yeah, okay.
At least.
Yeah, in a couple of months you'll be able to participate in the shared source version of all these projects that you're seeing today. So.
And for the record, today's February 10th.
You're gonna
You never know.
Accountability.
You never know when you're
Really
watching this. Somebody could be watching this in
Alright.
September. So, who's our next?
Who's the
Who's the headliner?
I'm Srinath. I'm a developer on the team. So I'm going to demo a tool called Managed Stack Explorer. So if you have your application deployed on a machine, and if your live application say hangs, what do you do? So you can go get Visual Studio, download it, and then install it, or get WinDBG or something and then take a dump and then do offline debugging, or use our tool. So our tool is it's a simple exe, one exe.
How big is it?
It's about 500 KB, and it's a .NET 2 application. You can just copy it anywhere you want and run it.
What language are most of these tools written in? Are they
All in C#.
C#?
Yeah. So it shows you all the .NET 2.0 processes that are running. Currently you can see none of them are running on this laptop. So I'll pick a sample application to show you. This is a sample. So it shows up in the process list, and you can click on the application and then get some basic information about it. And also you can right click on the application and then you can view threads, and then it shows you all the threads that are currently in the application. So you can also set the auto refresh so that it automatically refreshes every few milliseconds. And if I add a new thread, so you can see that it shows up here, and then I can select whatever threads I want to monitor, and then right click and then say view stack trace. It shows me the stack trace. I can also enable auto refresh stack trace so that I don't have to keep clicking show stack trace. The auto refresh frequency, you can set it using options. You can go options, preferences, and then you can set your preferences here, and then you can also ask it to set how much stack depth you want to show. So the output will be shown in the stack trace frame. It shows you the stack trace of whatever selected threads. Another good feature we have here is logging. So if you don't know when the application is going to hang, or if you don't know when it's going to crash, and you want to keep monitoring it, and you don't want to be sitting all night there, you can start the logging and then go home. So when you select start logging, it asks for a file to be saved the log output to, and then once you select it, it's logging. So when you during this while, you can actually look at the stack trace of other threads too, and you can see that the threads I'm logging they show up as yellow, and then once you find your problem, you can stop logging. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And oh yeah, another important thing I forgot to mention is this application was actually developed by an intern called his name was Matthew Manela from Birmingham University, right? I think so.
Binghamton.
Yeah.
That's in New York.
Binghamton? Okay. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. So he worked for us last summer, and he's going to come back this summer again. So thanks to Matthew.
So why would anybody want to use this as opposed to like WinDBG?
So WinDBG gives you unmanaged stack trace, and also if you attach a debugger, it stops the process. This one monitors the application live and doesn't stop the process at all. It gives you the stack trace live, but it doesn't affect the process much. So that's the difference.
Also, it's just a lot easier. Like WinDBG, you need to know all the commands. There's a bit of a learning curve involved. This, just point and click your way to stack traces. Pretty simple.
This is ideal for IT pros who have deployed servers like ASP.NET, where they don't need to learn WinDBG. They just use this application. If something is wrong, they can pass on the information to the developers to fix it.
And all of this is available through the command line.
Oh yeah, all of this is available through command line too. Yeah.
My part of the spec.
Yeah.
Where do ideas from this stuff come from? Most of these.
So this one, the idea for Managed Stack Explorer came from actually talking with our support folks. We have a program internally called Frontline, where we go and talk to PSS. And one of the common problems is they spend a lot of time debugging live applications. So we thought this could help. The idea for the TFS admin tool came from our use of TFS. So we internally wanted to dog food the application, and we found out that it's a pain to set up permissions across. So kind of created or gave me permissions. I could only access one part of the application. The other subsystems were inaccessible. And so we went out and looked at other feedback, and people also said it's the exact same problem they have too.
It was mentioned as a suggestion on the product feedback side, something that needed to get fixed. And there were quite a few blog entries of people saying, hey, guess what? I set up my TFS server, but yeah, I can't seem to get to SharePoint and SQL reporting services. What did I do wrong? So this is a very common pain point to a lot of the beta testers from TFS.
And the MSBee tool similarly came from the one of the places we got the idea from was the Product Feedback Center as well. It was actually in the top 10 list of suggestions on the Product Feedback Center for the product to enable people to build for down-level platforms. And the MS Build team didn't build it in the product for MS Build, and so we looked at it and we talked to them and realized that it was possible for us to do.
Even before we spotted the problem in Product Feedback Center, this problem actually came up with a real customer who I visited during my frontline program, and they said, okay, I wanted to still develop applications for 2.0, but have them still run on 1.1, and they wanted my help there when I was there. And I went around, looked on the web, there was somebody had put together a prototype to do similar things.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped them with that, and then we got the internal idea that we could do the same thing in a more professional way and actually get out a tool from Microsoft. Went and looked at Product Feedback Center. It was among the top voted items, so we decided to actually spend some resources on it.
How do you prioritize which items you do? It's like by the number of people you'll end up helping, or?
Yeah, that's actually something that I own now. But I just joined the team 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working on establishing those guidelines, but we're looking at frequency. The number of votes is definitely important. The type of problem, is it a pain point or is it a suggestion? You know, what is it something nice to have, or is it something that I'm struggling with, and having this a tool will really increase my productivity. Like TFS, yes, sure, there are workarounds, but it's frustrating. Or it's not so much a workaround as a what did I do wrong. So it's just trying to help address those issues.
Customer pain is one of the primary metrics we use, right? How is this really affecting the customer? In some cases, there may be few customers affected, but that pain may be very deep. In other cases, we may have a lot of customers going through slight pain, and all of those get factored in. And we look at different metrics, different places to look for confirmation. Product Feedback Center is one. A lot of other mechanisms where we look for what are customers really saying about this particular problem.
And you end up showing to the people that are responsible for VS in these areas, so that maybe they incorporate some feature like it or the tool.
That's the general idea. Some of the ideas that we do in aftermarket solutions, they eventually can be pulled into the product themselves. So we work closely with the product groups to say, this is what we are doing.
Right.
Is it in your plan for the next release? Maybe this could be your starting point for the feature in the next version.
Yeah, we absolutely have to engage with them to find out if we're doing the right, are we doing the right set of things for your customers, because they're the ones with the expertise.
And we've certainly seen examples when teams have released tools in the past for like the Power Toys for VS 2003, where there was some feedback around the tool that actually ended up shaping some of the final versions of the product. So the VB team, for example, got feedback from the VB commenter tool about how they were the characters they were using to escape for comments, and they were going to pick a different comment character, and then the people using the tool were really vocal about it should be this way, and we're using it already, and so it definitely influences future versions of the product, the feedback on these tools.
What's one of the most popular Power Toys out there already?
What's one of them?
Yeah, like one of the top.
VB
Probably
commenter.
the VB commenter is one
That's
of the most popular
really our
ones.
poster child, but we're trying to see that once we deliver these, we want the communities to jump in and take ownership of the projects and continue to build them. Just like the VB commenter is just the best example of that. Oh, it's just the source code now is unrecognizable.
Is the code snippet editor considered that, or a Power Toy?
That's definitely, those are released on by the editor, the C# team, and that's definitely considered in the same.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, the VB team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's not developed by us, we're encouraging the product units to hey, we have guidelines, we have the process you need to follow to, you have a tool, this is what you have to do to get it out to your customers.
So do you guys go around within Microsoft talking to developers and team members that might have some cool code like this that they use internally, even testers or devs or even program managers they use to prototype something?
Right. So we do have lots of sources to look into. One of them is internal sources. So we look at toolbox that is available internally. Those are some potential ideas. Product groups often have their own special tools that they use internally for debugging. So those are good to package up and give to external customers. That's one of our primary sources.
Do you have other stuff you're working on? Behind these are stuff that's like either online or about to go online. All this is
About to
online.
go online.
That's online today.
Yeah.
The one thing that
MSBee is already online.
Yeah, we did
Download
that one
this
today.
75 downloads since yesterday.
Yeah.
the we have a pipeline of ideas to look at. The one that is very promising that I'm excited about is a tool called Best Practices Analyzer for ASP.NET and other .NET applications. There are similar applications available for Exchange Server and SQL Server, and we think that similar tool for ASP.NET would be very useful for end customers to look at the configuration files, what went wrong, could that be tweaked somehow. So we will investigate that the next sprint.
Right.
And if anyone watching this has any ideas, let us know.
And how do they let you know? What's the product feedback center, or is there another?
They've got a few places. I mean, if there's an idea on the Product Feedback Center, definitely send us the link. We've got a forum for aftermarket solutions on the MSDN forum site. Our email address is on the blog, so it'll be linked to on this post. And however we get the ideas, we'll put them into our pipeline and triage them and get feedback from you guys about what we should be doing.
For people not too familiar with the Power Toys download, do they just go to got.net.com, or where's the starting point?
Right. So that's actually something I'm working on too. To create like a Power Toys for Visual Studio homepage, like a one-stop shop. So if people do have a suggestion, they can go there and they see, okay, I can go with the forums, Product Feedback Center, so they'll have everything at their disposal right there. So
We'll
right
send you a
now,
link for the video too. So
the links will include the links alongside of this video, but I'm working with the MSDN folks to create some home pages for the toys on the VS Stuff Center. But we're getting there.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's a link to the MSBee tool at blogs.msdan.com/CLICHTEN.
Plugging your own blog.
That's right.
Who in the room has a blog? The team members are out there.
Actually, we also have a team
We have
blog.
a team blog.
I am going to ask your mother why you're using Notepad instead of the new XML editor in Visual Studio for editing
It's
XML.
convenient. It was right there in my start menu, that's why.
Cool.
Interesting.
Any other questions for us?
You say you have some more stuff you're working on. I mean, how often are you going to be putting stuff out? Is it, a few times a month? Is it kind of random? Depends on how big the project is?
Our general plan is we will have monthly sprints, and then at the end of sprint, we will release tools. I don't know why Craig is laughing, but we have some more work to do for these these tools. We have other investigations to go, but our plan is to release CTPs or betas or actual final versions of tools every sprint. So something will be coming out of this group, either in the CTP form or beta form or release form.
What happens if a community member, MVP, or somebody created something they think is, at the level of a Power Toy? Do they submit it themselves as their own code gallery thing, and then it's?
Yeah, that's the whole point of .NET. It's the .NET community. So.
But is it labeled a Power Toy, or is the Power Toy really what your team puts out? It's just part of a bigger family.
The way I kind of envision this is they will post it up on .NET, and we'll have a set of guidelines like you need to run you need to do this type of testing, this level of testing, and make sure that you adhere to these standards. We do want to have some type of standardization across it, especially coming from externally. If they want to be a part of, want to be, hey, want to be included in this set of Power Toys, but we want them to have to go through a little bit of a sign off, like a check sheet. So it doesn't. So they have a good bar for quality. So people don't become oh, I don't know if I should download this because it didn't come from Microsoft. We want to make sure there's a high bar for that. But other than that, what I see right now is they'll go to .NET, they'll create a code gallery or a workspace, they'll post there, they'll let us know. We'll probably send them, hey, here's our list of things to just do a sanity check on, and make sure that you have documentation, you're following this format, things like that. And then once that's all good, they'll let us know, and we'll include them in our list, and we'll probably play with the tool too and give them any feedback or whatever. Now, coming from the testing world, you can never do too much testing. But
It's definitely in our vision of what we want to do, because we realize that we're a really small team. We're never going to be able to address all the pain points or hit even all the top 100 issues that people have. So we're going to be doing some things, potentially like a hack day or something out there, or a hack week or competitions to get people excited about creating the tools on their own in the community.
What about
we
things
do wanna
that,
encourage that
that
stuff.
you decided you don't have the resources or priority to do, but they may be a good idea and the community may do it? Do you actually think about a way to say, here's a list of things that could be done?
So that's one of the things we're considering with MSBee. We've gotten some questions about IDE support for Visual Studio 2005 with MSBee. And so that was one of the things we said, well, we want to get the tool out there, but if people in the community want to jump in and participate with building in the IDE support, absolutely, please do.
Cool.
Eventually, we'd like to be to a world where customers can participate sort of in all levels of our process. So customers will eventually see the entire list of our pipeline, or at least the narrowed down ones that are of quality that we're considering, and then they'll see the specs and the early prototypes as we're developing them online, and they could participate at that point. And we're not quite there yet, and we're
Right.
working on getting to that world.
Yeah, just kind of like a total transparency,
Mhm.
complete transparency. Yeah, from the even like our guidelines to how do we figure out what are pain points.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, thanks. Look forward to more demos in the future.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you guys later.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.